Hey. And welcome back to Kings of Influence. I'm one of your hosts, Ray William Johnson.
And I am 50% of your hosts, Epic Lloyd.
And this is the podcast or pod stream or whatever you want to call it, where we talk about social media and really anything else we want to talk about. I think it's gravitating more towards we talk about whatever the F we want.
That is true. And at the end of the episode, we will crown one of the people that we talk about the King of Influence for the week.
That is correct.
And we're here every Wednesday at noon. On the live pod stream, and you can find us in podcast form on
SoundCloud. And now, what's the other one? What are the kids using these days? iTunes.
There it is.
iTunes.
So download us and follow us on Facebook.
That's right.
We're doing this every week at Wednesday.
Yep. Kings of Influence. We have a page on Facebook. We're going to have a page on YouTube as soon as we get that going.
We got a lawyer.
Whoa. Well, we're getting real official now. A lawyer?
I feel like that's like the first thing you got to do if you ever go into business doing anything for real. You got to get a lawyer.
Oh, yeah. Well, go ahead.
Oh, shit.
Well, power's going out and stuff. Okay, that's great.
That's awesome.
Wow, power just jumped on. For those of you listening, power just jumped on and off. So this will be fun. If it cuts off, you know what happens.
Just start turning off lights and things. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, it feels good that the podcast is moving along. We're on episode 4. Things are plowing forward, and I think it's cool that you guys, you're kind of a part of something in its really, really early form. Yep. So you can't be a hipster now, but you can be a hipster later. Yeah. When other people join on board, and you can be like, I've been listening to them since episode 4.
Oh, Kings of Influence? I like their old stuff.
Yeah, I like their old episodes.
I like it when they were in Lloyd's back office and it was 1,000 degrees. And you could just watch their faces sweat.
Back before they got all that equipment and before they sold out.
They're all Corolla now.
Corolla. That's a good reference.
Thank you.
All right. What did you do this week? You just got back from, where did you just get back from?
I had a great week. I was traveling this week.
Okay.
And actually for the last 2 weeks I was on the road. My wife is from Wyoming, and her parents had been married for 41 years. 41 years.
Wow. Congrats.
I know. That's longer than I've been alive. They've been married longer than I've been alive. And so every 5 years on their anniversaries, they do like a family trip. So we went to Yellowstone Park, which was amazing. And we also went to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. So Jackson Hole, Wyoming is a ski town on the western tip of Wyoming, if you guys don't know. And in the last, I want to say, maybe 40, 50 years, has got crazy popular, and like a lot of rich people own things there, and millionaires and billionaires. But it was still really cool. We went, and I went whitewater rafting, which was the shit. And we just ate a bunch of really good food and drank a bunch of good wine, and my niece was there. It was a very family-oriented vacation, but I had a great time. Then we went up to Yellowstone Park, which was great. It's gorgeous up there. Definitely the secret is out. There was a lot of selfie sticks.
Big tourist spot
in
there?
Yellowstone. Yeah, and it just looks out of place. When you go and you think about Yellowstone, you're like, oh, it's so serene, it's so quiet, it's so majestic, and it is. And then you see a bear, and you're like, oh my God, a bear. And then it's like 90 cars all around you, like, look at the bear. And so it was great, and it's tough to bitch about that. We also went to Yellowstone in July, which is like the most popular time you could possibly go.
Yeah.
And then after that, I flew to Chicago, and we did an Epic Rap Battles of History show at Anime Midwest in Chicago, and that was also an amazing time, which was badass.
What goes on at an Epic Rap Battles of History live show?
That's actually funny to ask. A lot of people ask that question because they don't know what to expect, and I'm very proud of that show. It's a fucking kick-ass rock and roll rap show. We got costumes, and we have a guitar player and a DJ and musicians, and we rap, we freestyle, we bring people up on stage to rap the songs with us. And at the Anime Midwest is like tons of cosplay, so everybody's dressed up like Goku and all these different characters, everything you could imagine.
So that's a convention, Anime Midwest?
Yeah, it's almost like a Comic-Con, but like an anime con.
Okay.
And the people are so great. They're all very cool people, and I don't know, there must have been 4,000 or 5,000 people in that audience, maybe 3,000, 4,000, somewhere in there. I don't know how many.
Wow.
But it was mad cool, and it was good to be on stage again and doing it again, and it made us feel real encouraged about the future.
Yeah, were they very warm?
Oh yeah,
super warm audience,
so cool, and everything was great.
So that's encouraging. You said that was encouraging. So does that mean you're looking forward to the next season or something like that?
We are. talking more about it than we have in the past, and we are handling some business that we need to handle, and that's where that is.
Fair.
But
and Peter, your partner, had a kid recently, and that obviously
he started a family. Yeah.
put a delay.
Yep.
You put it much nicer than I did. He had a kid. He started a family.
He shot out a head and some arms.
Jesus.
No, I mean it's been cool, and to take 2 years as a break is not that long for like a TV show or whatever, but it felt cool. It felt good. So we don't know exactly what the next couple things are going to be, but certainly more live shows, and those are really great. And so we got. I was just saying we bought these in-ear monitors for the live show. So instead of a monitor like shouting sound up from the bottom of the stage like in a wedge, it's in your ear. So it sounds like you're in the studio when you're rapping.
Oh, cool.
So sometimes if the audience is too loud or if the mix is really muddy or murky, like you can't hear the beat and like you'll miss a drop or something, and it's so awful. I Am Adolf Hitler, like that whole song builds up to that, and I missed it in the show. I was so pissed. So we're excited for
That's
these.
the only thing that audience is going to remember.
I know.
5,000 people, the only thing they're going to remember about that show is you missed your
I know.
drop.
Hey, Lloyd, remember back in 2018 when...
Remember when you missed the downbeat that time?
Yes, I've been paying for that ever since.
I hate it so much.
Oh man.
Okay, let's
How
talk.
about your week?
Oh,
though?
you talk about my week.
Yeah.
So, being the boring guy that I am, I spent all week essentially writing music. Recorded 2 songs in the last like week and a half or so.
Yeah.
Putting them up on SoundCloud. Going to shoot some videos for them and shit.
That's awesome.
And that's what I spend most of my time doing.
That's amazing.
It's like just creating.
It's so funny you call that boring. That's like
Well, it's
kinda
boring to
what
talk
everybody
about.
wants. Yeah.
It's like, what did you do this week? I spent all week shut in my apartment, like writing. You know, and so it doesn't paint a very pretty picture, but the final product is great.
Yeah.
And no one complains about the final product. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, of course you put out a lot of stuff because you put so much work into it because you
Right.
spend 7 days a week, locked in a room like writing."
Do you lock yourself in the room?
I mean, my front door is locked, I would say.
Wow.
You know.
That's crazy.
But I don't know what that's about. That's just so no one walks in.
Right, yeah, I have dogs for that. Oh my God! Yesterday I walked out of my house and there was a homeless woman sleeping on my front lawn, and
Wow.
sorry about that. Not I just equated Ray with being homeless.
No, it's fine. That's fine.
But yeah, luckily, I mean, you can't sleep on my front lawn. That's not cool.
Did you turn the hose on her?
No, I just said you can't sleep here. And then actually, a neighbor who I had never met was walking right by, and like he was like, "Yeah, I just saw her over in my yard too." And that's how I met this neighbor for the first time. I'm like, "Oh, I'm Lloyd, by the way." He's like, "Yeah, I live 2 doors down. My name's Wallace." So I met my neighbor via this woman who was homeless. Sad enough.
You had this conversation while she was sleeping on the lawn?
While she was on the lawn and like slowly, so I didn't have to be aggressive. I didn't like say anything much to her. We just sort of talked normally, and she kind of got the idea that I said something to her and she ignored me at first, and then I just started talking to this guy who was my neighbor, and she sort of got the picture that it wasn't going to be cool for her to stay there, and then she just sort of walked away, which was sad. But I met my neighbor in that way.
That's cool.
Which is kind of an odd way to meet a neighbor.
So at the end of the day, she was homeless, but not a bad house guest.
Correct.
She got the hint. She knew,
did.
she knew it was time to leave.
It was time to move on.
Okay.
She was very drunk. She was very, very drunk.
All right, you want to talk about cultural appropriation?
Yeah.
It's everyone's favorite subject.
Dude, let's kick it off with a little cultural appropriation.
A little cultural appropriation. So Zac Efron, actor, heartthrob,
pectoral muscles.
yeah, movie star, this guy, abs and such, enthusiast. So he posts a little picture on his Instagram, and the picture is him in dreads.
Okay.
So he's, white guy in dreads.
Oh, here we
and you're right. And here, of course, the fucking internet erupts and starts, accusing him of cultural appropriation and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Which anytime the internet erupts over something, I just feel like we have to talk about it on the show.
Well, it's Kings of Influence.
It's exactly what it's about. So let's look at the picture just so we're all clear really quick. Sorry. There we go. So we have, that's it. So that's Zac Efron in his stylish dread look there. That's his Instagram. His caption, he said, "just for fun."
And then the internet went crazy?
Well, yeah, of course. It's the internet.
The internet's stupid.
And they want to accuse everyone of cultural appropriation.
Ugh. That's
So
dumb. His hair looks cool. That looks awesome.
I mean, it looks fine. Yeah, I mean, it could be for a movie. It could be for a lot of stuff.
It could because he likes that type of culture and he's celebrating it.
Right, or he just likes the look, or he didn't put a second thought into it. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the, like, let's jump on everyone who, who gets dreads, or someone who appropriates some culture that they didn't necessarily originate from. I'm not a fan of that. I think it's like an excuse to complain. And I'm not saying there aren't valid criticisms, because I'm sure there are. But, pick your battles, and the Zac Efron having dreads is not the hill you should die on.
Yeah, and doesn't that make it more separate than together? Doesn't that do more to create separateness than unity?
Yes.
And isn't that like the exact opposite of what the Rasta is all about and dreads in general? So it doesn't make any sense to me. And it's impossible to not be influenced by different cultures when you live on the same planet, unless you're like on some crazy island or something. But does that mean that, like, because hip hop music was originated from jazz and from black people, that no white person can ever like that type of music? Or because fucking Thai food was made in Thailand, I can't have some pad see ew for dinner? Like, what the hell? Well,
I think the argument is that you can't start a Thai restaurant and profit off of it. I think that's where people get really torn up about it, which I don't necessarily agree with either. Like, capitalist society, man, if you love Thai food and that's your jam, then do your thing. I'm not opposed to that. Also, I want to point out that dreadlocks don't necessarily have origins in the Rasta community.
Is that right?
Yeah, I had to look into it. I did some research, and they don't really know where dreads originated from because they are sort of a result of not washing your hair.
Yeah,
like
or
naturally,
like actively putting, like, I remember in high school a couple kids had it and they were like putting egg whites and shit.
Yeah,
in their hair
you can put things in there to do, but before that, before it was a style, it was a thing that just kind of happened, and that actually predates recorded history.
Wow, well that makes sense.
Yeah,
People
I know.
Didn't have the ability to like take a nice bath and like wash their hair and shit.
Or write, or read and write.
Right.
So dreads just kind of happened. So they actually emerged from. It's recorded they emerged from several different cultures.
Yeah.
Anywhere from, Japan and...
really?
Yeah. Excuse me. India, and then, of course, like, not Jamaica, because that came later, but, like,
the island?
In Africa. Yeah.
Yeah, that's stupid. Internet, you're dumb. You're dumb today. The internet is dumb today.
You're silly.
Look at how hot he looks.
The Vikings, yeah.
Look at how good he looks, everybody. Just think about running your hands through that hair.
No, I mean, whatever. I mean, it could look. The thing is, it could look like total shit, but I don't care. Let the guy. And he even says in the caption, "Just having fun."
Yeah.
Like, let the guy wear. Let the guy have his fun. Don't
eat a bag of baby dicks.
You're gonna be the hair police.
Woo!
Yeah.
Hey, you know why I pulled you over?
I don't quite understand.
Got some ID for that comb over?
Oh, well, okay. So see, I left it in my other weave.
Yeah. I'm gonna need you to step out of the car. You know how hard this comb over was going today?
I mean, I have a dime bag in my glove box, but that's...
I'm sorry, sir. That is a legal comb over in several states. I realize they've made comb overs legal for a couple of states, but federally comb overs are still illegal. I'm gonna need to book you for that haircut.
Oh God! So the dime bag is fine.
That dime bag's fine.
The speeding
fine.
Not using my signal.
It's that I am the hairdo police. I don't know if you saw my badge.
Oh,
it's right here underneath my weave.
Hey yo, it's a little silly.
Yeah,
it really is silly, especially when you think about culture itself, because culture has always been fluid. It's always been an exchange.
Yeah,
I mean,
we just didn't have the ability to bitch on as broad a level as we do now. Twitter is basically just an excuse to bitch on a very high scale. Oh, it's heating up.
Well, I know it's getting hot in here. Well, this one was actually on Instagram, sir. How dare you?
How dare you?
I know Twitter always gets the bad rap because half the shit always goes down on Twitter, but this one was actually Instagram.
Instagram.
But I did read some tweets about it.
Yeah.
And some people, Zac used to be my boo, and now he's not anymore because he ain't woke.
Oh man.
Or whatever it is that people are saying. That actually is something I read.
You lose, Instagram. You lose today. When you fuck with the Zac E, you go down in a ball of flames.
Well, so let's talk about the different accusations that get made under the guise of cultural appropriation. So you've got like Halloween costumes. That's a big one. You know,
Is it really?
yeah, like white girls dressing up like geishas, or you know,
Right.
white guys wearing Native American
Or that
headdress.
that one girl dressed up like Crazy Eyes from Orange is the New Black a couple years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I know I'm walking on thin ice when I say this, but I do think there is a difference between a white person dressing and trying to appear to be a black person and blackface.
Yes.
Blackface is an exaggeration of the features. It's super insulting. It's
Yeah,
super
it's
racist.
designed to mock.
But to me, the girl dressing up like Crazy Eyes was, and I don't remember what the outfit looked like, if it was too insulting or what, but it sounded like she was celebrating that character.
Mm-hmm.
And like that to me is a little sad that we're drawing this line in the sand of one race can't celebrate the other in a way that is respectful and good and happy, you know? Like that again, that feels like it's making us more separate than together. So that was sort of sad when I read that a long time ago. So I definitely, Halloween costumes are where things can go down hard. Where else? Music?
Well, definitely music. Bruno Mars was accused of cultural appropriation like months ago
For what?
for his dancing style, his style of music. Someone posted a thing about it, arguing that Bruno Mars was, active in this cultural appropriation thing. He was appropriating other cultures and how it was bad and he shouldn't be praised and all this stuff. And it went viral because people were upset.
Because the internet sucks.
Because, well, to be fair, the internet was on both sides of that. That's why things go viral now. They upset people on both sides of the argument.
Yeah.
So these people were like arguing both for Bruno Mars, being a cultural appropriator, and then of course against, which is like the genres of music that you're accusing him of appropriating were also adapted from other genres, like previous genres.
And it's Bruno Mars. He's the shit, and he's doing good music. Like,
I know.
It's a good
He's
celebration
great.
of the music. I feel like where else? Maybe I feel like fashion has got to be one. Like you said, Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween, big one, because people dress in costumes in Halloween,
But
right?
also fashion. Like if everybody and their brother started wearing a kilt.
that doesn't count. Because, Scottish guys or white guys.
Don't go there.
Allegedly.
You can't go there.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Well,
So if a Latino wears a kilt, is that cultural appropriation?
and then starts selling them, and then starts making millions of dollars off of them. Is it cultural appropriation? Yes. I think then you just have to decide whether cultural appropriation is a negative thing.
Right.
Cultural appropriation, in my opinion, from what I can understand, isn't inherently bad. It's a term that's become bad, but you're appropriating somebody else's culture and making money off of it, or making a living off of it. I can see where it would be horrible, and where, like, I can see where it could go bad.
Yeah.
But there's definitely too much going on in terms of the white hot internet opinion of everything.
Well, right. So, yes, I can absolutely see where it would go bad. So if you grew up wearing kilts because you're Scottish or something,
Right.
and you were made fun of your whole life, and then one day, we'll keep it with the Latino example. Latinos started wearing kilts and suddenly they were cool.
Right.
Well, then you're going to be like, man, I've been wearing these my whole life and they were never cool, and now they're cool.
Right.
And now these guys, I could see that being frustrating, but that's life.
Yeah, and I think the other thing might be too is, say you're a small kilt making business in Scotland, working hard every day to make hand woven kilts, and you take a lot of pride in the quality, and you take a lot of pride in the work and the craftsmanship, and then some big company from, I don't know, Jamaica comes in with a whole buttload of money, and they open up a giant kilt making factory right next to you because they have a ton more money, and they make them cheap, and they make them fast, and they shit them out, and they put you out of business.
Mm-hmm.
That, I think, is where there's a little bit of an issue, being like, oh, kilts are selling like hotcakes. We're going to make these really fast, and people who actually care about what it is, what the culture, what the history of the product is, get pushed aside, and it's just becomes a money-making thing.
Well, yes, but on a long enough timeline, a bigger business is going to put you out of business. It's going to put your business out of business, and you're going to have to adjust. It happens to every business, again, on a long enough timeline. Remember Blockbuster?
Yeah. Should have bought Netflix. $1 million they turned down.
Wow.
There was a deal to buy Netflix for like $1 million or something at one point, and they turned it down. They're like, people aren't going to do that.
Huh. Would you remember? Do you remember MySpace? Speaking of social media,
Yeah.
So I mean that happens in business. A bigger business comes along, and because they have more resources or a better idea, or they've adjusted faster or whatever, and they put you out of business,
Right.
and that's going to happen with or without the cultural appropriation or not. I mean, unfortunately, that's just the reality.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what people's beef is that the targeted business capitalist society, and this is something that doesn't exist. We're a capitalist society, but not all cultures are capitalist societies.
Right.
So when the capitalist society has the biggest amount of money and the most power, and it shuts other little businesses down in places where it's not necessarily the most important thing to be a free market, that I think is a disruptive, and I think there's legitimate beef there.
Yeah.
But not with Zac Efron's.
No, well,
dreads.
he's not putting Rasta actors out of business.
No, he's
because
just putting
of his
other
dreads.
hot models out of business with his hot man dreads.
Right, he's putting me out of business because I can't get the role. I would have gotten those roles.
Yeah, dude.
But he has a 9-pack and I just have the 6-pack. You know how it is.
He is a short guy though. He's not quite as short as us, but I think he's a short guy. Have you ever seen him stand next to like Seth Rogen or whatever? He's like quite a bit shorter than those dudes.
Yeah, I met Zach.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah, I have a crazy Zac Efron, a semi-crazy Zac
Do
Efron
tell.
story. Yeah, well, I might as well tell.
Dish.
Okay, so I've met Zac Efron in a press junket, and he was a nice guy, and everything. It was very brief, and I introduced myself to him and all that stuff.
Did you say what the Efron?
No, I didn't. I didn't get to that.
Good thing.
I didn't get to that. So I introduced myself, and he goes, "Yeah, I know who you are." He's like, you look very familiar. You do the thing. I was like, yeah, of course. And then we exchanged pleasantries and kind of did our thing. He had to film a little video piece or something like that, and then we went on our way because I had a bunch of other things to film that day, and he was in a press junket. So fast forward a few years later, and I'm out at this club called Beachers. Basically. So this is a small private club that like celebrities go to, and I was invited. And this is not the kind of place that you or I would ever go.
Right.
But I was invited by some friends because it was someone's birthday or something like that, friend of a friend's birthday. So we go there, and there was a girl in our group who worked there, but she was off work, so she frequented that club all the time.
Right.
Now, we go there, and like comedian Jeff Ross is there.
Did he roast you?
No. It's a club. It's too loud. So
Right.
Wilmer Valderrama was there.
Oh yeah.
Like Brett Ratner and shit was there. Like, and these guys had like tables and like
Bottle service.
bottle service and girls. It was that kind of club, and it was kind of like, oh yeah, cool, we're in that kind of club. So Zac Efron was there, and he had his table, right? And the girl that was with us goes, "Hey, I'm going to introduce you to Zac Efron. He frequents here a lot, so I kind of know him." And
That sounds like,
and I
sorry
said-
to interrupt. That
yeah.
sounds like, hey, I'm going to use you as an excuse to go talk to this guy who I want to talk to all the time.
Maybe she did. Maybe she was a total poser. But Zach and I are on opposite sides of the room. So she goes to the other side of the room, and I'm kind of doing my thing with my group, and she comes back, and because I knew like Zach and I had met before, so that this may actually be a thing where like, oh, we can go hang out or something, and that would have been kind of cool. So she comes back and says, "Okay, so Zach really wants to like hang with you and meet you again and everything, but he's on a lot of acid." And he doesn't want you to see him that way.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, so in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, this story is so crazy that it's actually true.
Yeah.
Or she's just a liar, because I didn't know that girl very well.
Right.
She was very nice. It could have gone either way.
Yeah.
But I was just like, wow. So she because it could have been a thing where she's like, I know Zac Efron, and she was totally posing, went, and he rejected her, and then she came back and was
She
like,
made up a crazy excuse.
Zach's on a lot of acid.
What an excuse that would have been.
Yeah.
That is an A+ story on so many sides. If she made that excuse up, that's a baller excuse to me.
Right.
Two, if she didn't and he just straight up admitted that's pretty baller of him. He's
Right.
like, yeah, Efron this.
No.
on fucking...
It's not even baller of him. It's very he's on acid.
I've never done acid. That's
And-
one of the drugs I've not done. But I don't know why you would go to a dance club on acid. That feels like the worst thing to do.
I mean, stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna do drugs anywhere, that club would have been it. I mean, it was small.
Yeah.
Like, it was a kind of club,
Yeah.
but it was like very... Like, I named all the celebrities in the room because I could
Intimate.
see them.
Now, is acid the type of drug? I've always heard that it's like, hey, you want to like go out in the forest, or maybe it's just the first time you do it, or whatever, or like go to like Coachella or something like that. I just have never done acid because I don't like the word acid. I don't want to
Yeah.
put something called acid into my body. It feels a little, I don't know, it's just a little scary.
Well, yeah, it sounds like, hey, you want to do some chemical burn?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And you have like a bad trip or like something like that. I feel like I don't have the mind. I've done mushrooms and it was fine. And I feel like they're pretty similar drugs, but
I've only done acid. I haven't done mushrooms.
oh, okay. Then maybe we'll swap one day and do this podcast.
And do the pods. Wow.
There was a show.
Think we'll get a sponsor?
There
Sponsored
used to
by
be
Windex.
There used to be a show at the Upright Citizens Brigade called the Drug Wars.
Okay.
And they would do, so 3 improv teams would do about a 30-minute improv show. And one would be super drunk, one would be super high on marijuana, and one would be tripping balls on acid or mushrooms. And then the audience voted for whatever was the best show. And
Did you ever see it?
no, I've never seen it. But the rumor is that usually the drunk people won.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I can make a guess as to why that is.
yeah.
Well, because you have a tolerance for alcohol. You can.
Yeah.
It's not that you can function any better. It's that you're used to it.
Yeah.
You're used to being like, fuck, I got to sober up really quick and do this thing.
Yeah.
And alcohol wears off pretty quickly.
Yeah.
The same could be said for weed, but it's hard to function on weed in general in terms of like making it look like you're doing your normal thing.
Really?
Well, yeah, making it seem like, especially in a high energy environment like that, when you're on weed, you're like, even if you can control yourself, you're just not like, oh, okay, fuck, I got to put myself out there. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like depends on the people I'm with when I'm smoking, and depends on the type of weed. Because I've had, I smoke weed and go to the gym. Like I like do normal shit.
You smoke weed and work out?
Yeah,
And
quite often. Yeah,
It doesn't kill your motivation or
No, it's
anything
the
like
opposite.
that?
It takes all that like laziness and like and procrastination, and it just sets it aside, and I kind of just look at it in a different way, like, oh, that'd be interesting to do, and then I do it. That's why I really truly believe in the medical value of marijuana, because it does. I mean, I know so many people with like just a cabinet full of pills, whatever, Xanax or Zoloft or any kind of stress release or anxiety medicine, and marijuana, especially if you're doing it in like wax form or some sort of non-smokable form, that Jesus, the side effects are so low and the the positive effects are so high. It's no wonder why the states are all making it legal. It works.
Yeah, I definitely think it works for some people. Recreationally, though, if I had a group of 100 people,
Yeah.
and they were all like, I want to smoke weed because it's going to make me more motivated and stuff, and I
Yeah.
would say, you 5, it's probably going to motivate you. The other 95, you're going to be lazy as shit.
Yeah.
But think you're more motivated.
Yeah. It also depends on the type of weed, too. You got the indica, which makes you go to sleep, and then the sativa, which is like the brain food. And I didn't realize that was an actual thing until I moved to Los Angeles, because being in Chicago and being from cities in the Midwest and stuff, most of the stuff is like shitty weed. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
actually, it's like watered down, mixed up, it's chopped up with all, whatever. And here, I mean, I went to Amsterdam and just laughed my ass off because LA kicks the shit out of Amsterdam weed.
Yeah.
It's just not even funny. This is like one of the most plentiful agricultural regions in the world. Like the wine here is dope and all the fruit and everything. So that really did make a difference for me. Like indica versus sativa was it makes you feel different.
So what was weed like in Amsterdam?
I mean, fine. Just fine.
Just
But you
average?
just hear rumors about it. What was pretty good was the hash, which
Yeah.
I hadn't done before.
I felt like Amsterdam was more of a hash.
Yeah,
hash country.
They call it hash bars and things like that.
Yeah.
And it was just more. The cool thing about it was legal. It was completely normal, and you could just smoke it and like talk about it in the coffee shops and things like that. And then just mixed with the lore that you hear as a kid all the way through high school. Oh, we got to go to Amsterdam. Everything's legal there. Blah blah blah. But you can also do like mushrooms and acid and stuff and just walk around the canals, which is that's probably pretty dangerous. But
I was actually told that was a myth about Amsterdam, is that it's only mushrooms and weed, I think, that are legal.
Yeah, you're probably
everything
right.
else is like tolerated.
Yeah.
They just don't bust you for it.
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, and
Pardon
There's
me while I
defi-
be the smartest guy in the room.
and then obviously the red light district is what everybody talks about, and that's
Right. Whores.
that's its thing. But
House.
but every city in Europe has one of those.
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah,
I
that
think-
was my understanding too. Is that prostitution's legal in a lot of cities in Europe.
or just looked aside as it should be.
Which I'm on the fence about that, about
Really?
prostitution being legal. Well, here's why. Because on one hand, it's like, yeah, it's her body, you know, capital, it's the economics of all that. That's her business. She can do her thing. So that's one argument that I'm totally on board with. Like, yeah, feminine, like, let's do it.
Or his thing.
Girl
or
power.
whatever. Yeah.
Right, their thing. It's a consensual relationship. The other part of me is like, man, when I'm in a city and I see what are clearly prostitutes, I think, are we in that
Right.
part of town?
Yes.
It's like seeing a certain type of trailer park.
Yeah, well, that's why I think you need to make it legal that you can regulate it, so you don't have street walkers, and then you don't have disease spread, and you don't have murder and assault and the safety issue and pimps and extortion and blackmail. When it's legal, it makes it safer because people are going to do it anyway. You know what I mean? And all those people who you see street walking, that's only in places where it's illegal. It's not like that in Amsterdam. Like, obviously, I don't have experience, but it's you go to a place and that's what they do, and it's safe and blah blah blah. I don't think that people have the right idea. I think a lot of people think of just hookers.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's not pleasant to see, but I think that's because it's not legal.
Maybe you're right. I was in Mexico one time for vacation. I think Puerto Vallarta. I was there, and me and my buddy went out to a bar/club, and I mean this was years ago, and we got like wasted, and there were these two. We're both single, so it's like that kind of thing, and there were these two local women who were very into us, and they were like way out of our league.
Yeah.
I couldn't, like, it was one of those things that only made sense because I was drunk. Like, yeah, no, I'm handsome.
Yeah, man.
This is cool.
Today's my best day.
Yeah, exactly. And they hung out with us all night, and they were flirting, and then at the end of the night, they made the proposition, and I was like, there's okay, that's what this is. There's been a prostitute hanging out with us both of us all night.
Wow.
Two
And
prostitutes.
were they pissed that you didn't we wasted our whole night on you and you didn't even buy us?
No, they were insistent, at the end, but I was also like, that is not going to happen.
That is not
this
my
is
game.
not a thing.
Wow.
Like, probably even if you weren't a prostitute, like I'm in a foreign country,
Yeah.
and you're a local, and I'm gonna feel weird about
There's
that.
a safety thing there, yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a say. Like, I'm gonna wake up with my kidney missing and
They
such,
They can have mine.
and I'm gonna have to. Yeah, right?
If they swap me out with a new one, for sure they can have mine.
Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna happen over there in Puerto Vallarta.
Oh, man.
So listen to this. There was a woman from Kentucky, and she went big game hunting over in South Africa. I don't know if you heard about this.
Bullshit.
Okay. Well, this will be a good one. So she shoots and kills a black giraffe, which is rare, which she paid to do, which is a thing. Like, you go to certain places in Africa, and particularly South Africa.
A black giraffe?
Yeah, it's a black giraffe. It's just a darker giraffe. It's not a giraffe that can dunk. You racist.
Yeah.
No, it's called a black giraffe, but it's a darker giraffe. I got a picture of it. I'll show you in a second. But she paid to do it. She paid for the thing. She went and killed it. Took some pictures with it, which are great pictures. I'll show you. Posted it on Facebook last year, and it went viral like just, I don't know, a week ago. And this woman started getting a bunch of shit. And there's a lot of details to this story, so we can talk about it. Let's look at the picture, though.
Finally opened up a year ago.
So here's the picture. You can see her there. So you can see it's a darker giraffe. I don't know why they call it a black giraffe.
I can tell why they call it a black giraffe.
But see there on the left, I guess she's like pointing up to Jesus or something like that.
Ugh.
I know, which is it's a little shitty. So
You just can't have fucking frosted tips and like $300 sunglasses and some freaking like designer jeans on. That's just awful. And look at like they like posed the giraffe like that. You
Yeah.
think it fell like that? It didn't fucking fall like
No.
that.
No,
like
it
they
didn't.
wrapped it around and made it look majestic. That's some bullshit.
I mean, okay. So there's a lot going on here. That is a thing you can pay to do. Like
Just because you can pay to do it
tourist
doesn't mean it's fine.
tourist hunting.
Do you think there's an overabundance of giraffes out there? Do you think there's like too many giraffes for the Serengeti?
No. So this giraffe was apparently. So this is the story. This giraffe was apparently like the locals wanted it gone because it was killing the younger giraffes. It killed like 3 younger male giraffes because it's the bull and it felt threatened.
That's
and
nature.
That's nature. That's what happens. So they kind of wanted it gone. You know, a tourist came along, paid to kill it, and went and killed it, which we can get into that in a second. But after she killed it, I guess they gave the meat and to the village, fed like 300 people or something like that.
Fine.
I don't know. I mean, the people in the village could have done that, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't quite get big game. I mean, if you're a hunter, I suppose big game would be kind of cool. I don't quite get what is so like I need to pose in front of this giraffe. Like what? I'm not trying to be like a PETA apologist or anything like here.
I'm the same way. I love animals.
But like why? So this giraffe wasn't hard to kill.
Yeah,
I'll give you that.
Standing there in the
It's not
fucking
gonna
middle of the street.
Fucking hide behind a flagpole.
Yeah.
It's huge.
It's the alpha male. It's not going to run.
Right.
It's not going to be afraid of this fucking Zare's mom. You know, like she's going to stand there and shoot it with a gun. Congratulations.
Right.
You didn't track this thing. You think she tracked it in those shoes? Like you think she fucking walked around the jungle? Like that's. I mean, I understand people who are hunting and there's like a sport to it and it's very natural and visceral and you slowly and you track and you go in the wilderness and then you gut it, and then this woman probably paid 7 of the locals to gut that shit. She didn't even get her hands dirty, I bet. That shit drives me nuts.
Kills a giraffe on Monday, asks to speak to your manager on Tuesday.
Right, exactly, exactly.
So, yes. Now, here's the thing. I understand because you're taking a picture with a dead thing. Let's break it down for what it is. And this has always been Kelly's argument in some of this stuff is she's like, I get that you're a hunter and this is your thing and this is your jam, but like you're gonna hold up this dead body, and take a picture with it like you're celebrating. Now,
and then
if this
stick its head on the wall,
you're gonna. I don't know if she did that, but you're gonna mount it and you got a trophy, like which is creepy and gross. But like if this giraffe tried to kill you and you had a battle royale and you killed it gladiator style, fucking take a picture next to it.
Right.
You conquered it.
Right.
But what really happened was you got in your little safari jeep.
Yeah.
You had this is a huge animal, so it's not going to be able to hide. And you had one of the biggest, best force multipliers that humankind has ever built, which is a firearm.
Yeah.
And you killed it. And so now you're going to take a picture next to it and point up to Jesus or God or whatever as if the Lord had anything to do with
in your fucking in your designer sunglasses and your leopard print fucking shirt and your tight jeans. This woman is not a hunter. She probably shot this thing from the back of a Jeep. Like that drives me crazy. And I understand that there are some people who are very like I just came from Jackson Hole and from Yellowstone, where everything is a fucking sheep head on the wall up there. It's an elk head, or in Jackson Hole now you can hunt bear, which is like apparently. I mean, there's 2 sides to every story, right? According to the natural people, the naturalist people there, the gameskeepers, it's more effective and more cost effective to allow people to hunt them because they're removing these bears by darting them and paying all these thousands of dollars to move them because they're infringing into people's homes and into people in the public. And that's costing the state thousands of dollars. Or they release 30 licenses a year and people pay $6,000 to be able to shoot one of these bears. And so they're actually making money off of that. That's fine, but doesn't really help the fact that like the bears are coming into the public because you're fucking pushing into their nature.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. No, that's definitely a thing.
You're invading their shit, and then you're like, you're not safe to be here when we took this from you. You know? And then when we did see a bear in Yellowstone, there was a mother bear with 2 baby cubs, which everyone knows is the most dangerous animal of any kind, is a mother with babies. There's just 90 fucking dumb dicks there with like selfie sticks and cameras. There had to be I don't know, Yellowstone guard, or what do they call them? Why can't I think of this? A park ranger had to like direct fucking traffic away from these bears, or people would have walked right up to those bears, then probably got mauled because they're being stupid, and then they would have killed the bear because it's like not a safe bear, man.
Right.
They had fucking that's just nuts. Why do you have the impulse to kill it? I don't get why you kill it. You know,
It's some people's thing, man. I mean, sometimes so it's not necessarily nature for us, but it's nature for nature. Like animals kill each other.
Oh, animals
kill other animals. They'll kill us. They don't give a fuck.
I follow this Instagram page called Nature is Metal. It's just
Nice.
animals ripping each other apart.
Oh.
And there's nothing that we do as humans to animals that's even remotely as brutal to things that animals do to each other. There was a picture of this. There's this certain type of fly that lays its eggs in the nostrils of toads, and then the larvae populate inside the toad's nose and then eat its brain out from the inside and then fly out of its nose as like full grown flies. That's some fucking alien Sigourney Weaver shit.
Wow.
That's gnarly, man. It's gross.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. No, I mean, look, yeah. So we don't necessarily need to kill like animals. And maybe, look, everything she did was legal. So we'll get back to her. So everything she did was legal. The way she's celebrating it, I think, is questionable. Like, I don't think that's going to age well,
Yeah.
I would say in 10, 20, 30 years. It's one of those things you look back on and you go, oh, yeah, this person's holding up like, that's a dead thing. Like, if you killed a person and you just held up the body, we would all flip out.
But what if it was a fish?
So, again, like, I'm not going to say that fish are less or anything like that, but you're still holding up a dead thing. That was Kelly's whole argument when she I guess she would see guys on dating site she had a dating site for her mom, right? I forget which one it was.
Farmers Only?
Match or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. Clown dating, which is a real site, by the way.
Is it really?
Clown dating, yes. Yeah, we looked it up.
Cosplay dating, I bet you that's one.
I mean, there's all kinds of like fetish sites too.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
anyway, so you'd see these guys in their profile pictures, dating profile pictures, and they're like holding up fish.
Yeah.
And why that would appeal to the opposite sex, I don't know. But Kelly's comment on it was, you're holding up something that's dead.
Yeah.
Like,
Why
at
not
the
hold up
end
a
of
live-
the day.
Wouldn't it be funnier if he was holding a live fish and it was just like a picture of him, like it's wriggling, like woo! It's like flapping out of his hands.
I should like a boomerang of that.
Yeah,
just like
exactly.
flipping out. You know?
You'd probably get mad dates.
Oh yeah, he gets
It's tough, man.
So
Like,
many hoes.
I know. It's tough. I understand that it is a sport and that most of the people that do hunt honor the animals. They honor them, and they're probably way more informed than people who bitch about hunting. They probably know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
To hunt an elk or to hunt a deer or to hunt a moose or something like that. Yeah, I get that. But you're right. I think it's the tone, it's the lack of sensitivity in this, and for me it's what she's wearing. For me it's what she looks like she just got out of a fucking real estate meeting. You know what I mean? And that's just so disrespectful because she didn't even work for it. She just paid to shoot something.
In her blue jeans.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm less concerned with that. I do think it's like it's the celebration of it all. It's like, here's this dead thing. So I totally see that argument. And then it's the like it's the pointing up to Jesus as if you weren't gonna, as if this wasn't gonna happen, and then you prayed for it.
Yeah.
And then God was like, you know what needs to happen today?
Yeah.
Designer mom needs to really murder a giraffe. I need to make that happen. And also, let's make the Eagles win the Super Bowl.
But Jesus, we have this soccer team trapped in a cave. Do you think maybe we want to have them get out of the cave?
Yeah, but like, I don't know. Like, this giraffe, it's kind of a nuisance.
Right, but these kids didn't have any food down in that cave.
Right, but she paid. And what, are we going to not honor her payment? It's an economic relationship.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see where you're going. What about this? Why don't we...
Those kids in the cave, they're Thai, right?
Yeah, they're Thai.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, this woman's American.
Right.
So let's get it, priorities.
Got it. Okay, right. We'll go with the giraffe kill, and then maybe we'll see if we can get these Thai kids out of the cave next week.
Okay, good. Next time, consult me beforehand. Let me do a little test. Raise your hand here if you're Jesus.
Yeah, you do that a lot.
Okay. So that would be one of us. Wow, made him sound like a jerk.
It's easy to make Jesus sound like a jerk.
Right. Oh, my Lord.
Man.
I just did it again.
I know.
Okay. So I told you last week that because you had wanted to talk about my anxiety disorder, which
Yeah.
I mentioned publicly. I don't go into a ton of detail about it. Sometimes I do, depending on what comes up. So I will allow you. This is weird because I'm usually the one doing sort of the interviewing and the pulling out, and now we gotta flip it. So you'll
Right.
have to. You can ask me anything you want about it, and I'll tell you about it.
Right.
I can give you a little precursor.
Okay.
So this is something I've had my entire life, but it's one of those things you didn't know. And it was maybe, I can't remember, 6-7 years ago, I went to the doctor and was like, what's wrong with me? And she diagnosed me. And then I was like, great, so can I get some like pills or something? And she's
Right.
like, no, because then you're just going to get addicted to the pills. I'm like, well, fucking what do I do?
Right.
She's like, well, we'll get you into treatment or whatever. And so she recommended, a counselor. So I went to go talk to the counselor. And about 3-4 sessions in, I realized that this wasn't like an anxiety disorder. Okay. So what I realized was that treatment was really just therapy. I was like, oh, this is just regular therapy. I thought this
Right.
was going to be like a special
different
thing
type of
where
thing.
it's absolutely therapy. So been doing that for that long. So I started doing it then. I'm still with the same counselor and everything. That's been 6-7 years. And I will say that being famous,
Hey.
the popularity and the fandom and all that stuff, that sort of emerging in my life at one point and staying there to this day, that certainly didn't help
Right.
things. That definitely exacerbated everything because that puts more pressure on you.
Right.
So that's kind of where it is, and it's gotten better over the 6-7 years. A lot better. It's manageable.
Right.
It's the best way I can describe it is it's like a constant loop of worry about whatever can go wrong will go wrong, and then even logic can't like get rid of that. It's almost, I like to compare it to being hungry. Whereas if you're hungry, like you feel it, and you can tell yourself all day, well, I'm going to eat in an hour. Stop being hungry. I'm going to eat in an hour. It'll be fine. I'm not going to starve.
Right.
But your body's like, fuck you.
I'm still hungry.
I'm going to make you feel like you're starving right now because I need this problem solved.
I have 1,000 questions.
Please, go on.
So just a precursor to the conversation a little bit is, so I sort of talked a little bit about this with Ray when we went on the stand-up tour a couple months ago, and we got to spend a lot more time together and more than we would have normally. We were friends, up until that point, but I don't think we ever had a sleepover.
Our eyes met, and
Yeah.
one thing led to another.
Yeah, and we, when you go out and you tour with somebody on the road, you get to know them in a really cool way, and you get to know how they live their life, you get to know how they perform, and you also get to know how they interact with people before and after the show. And so we talked a lot about the meet and greet and like hanging out afterwards, and I'm sort of a extrovert to an extent where I gain energy from meeting new people, not necessarily from talking to old friends, but I gain energy from meeting new people. And so I'm always sort of looking forward to the, shaking hands and saying hi and all these things. And Ray was also looking forward to that, but he was concerned about having it be in a controlled situation because of these symptoms that you were just explaining. So that's where originally I started talking to him about it. And so, yeah, I mean, I was, the first thing I was going to ask is, what does it feel like? And you were saying it's sort of like a worry, a never end, like a hamster wheel of being worried.
Yeah, usually it's multiple wheels.
Right. And then what does it influence you to do? Does it make you work? Does it make you sit up and not sleep? Does it make you just gnaw your fingernails off? How does it emerge?
All of that. So it emerges as like, it's a very physical sensation. That's why I like to compare it to hunger.
Right.
So your blood pressure goes up. You might sweat. It's kind of like when you're performing, you might sweat a little bit more. You're extremely on alert, and it's draining. Where you get energy from meeting people, it's like pulling it from my body.
Right.
Because my heart rate's going up, my blood's going fast.
Yeah.
Like the way I like to describe it is your blood goes from like a lazy river to like a raging rapids.
Right.
And your brain like wants to run away with itself.
Yeah.
It wants to be whatever you think could go wrong, whatever it is. And
Yeah.
there's multiple hamster wheels going at the same time. So whatever you think can go wrong, your brain wants to be like, no, that's going to go wrong. And you got to go, no, it'll be fine. We've done this 1,000 times. Everything's fine. And it comes about not just with meet and greets, which are hard for me to do. Although there is a big part of me that enjoys doing them.
Sure.
It comes about like in everyday life. Like it comes about when, you go to CVS and you got to talk to a cashier, when you're trying out anything new. Anytime you're doing any kind of performance and you get that little bit of so most people, if you ask them to perform, especially if you get outside of LA, like, hey, be on camera, perform, they're like, bah. And if you ever get them on camera, it pulls the energy right out of them because they're just like worried and they're nervous and they're not used to it. So I'm actually fine performing.
Yeah.
It's the other stuff. It's everything not performing. Because when I'm performing, I actually get to use that energy.
And you're prepared, you can control that situation.
And I can control the situation, and my, the heart rate goes up and your blood is raging. Your blood's raging rapids, and you're like, cool, I'll just channel that into my performance.
Yeah.
But when you're not performing, you're expected, and you want to like be real.
Yeah.
And it's hard to like be real when you've got all that stuff kind of going on.
And is it people? I mean, is it a person thing? Is it an antisocial thing? Or do you experience this when you're sitting alone by yourself at the house?
No, when I'm sitting alone by yes and no. So is it a people thing? Very much so, but it extends beyond that. When I'm sitting alone at my house, if there's nothing for like my brain to feed on, it will feed on shit that's just not even there.
I feel like that's pretty normal, though. Like, if you're just sitting in a room, you could be like a worry wart. My grandmother would call me a worry wart. Don't worry all the time. It doesn't do anything. But your mind can just spin and spin and spin and spin itself out of control.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, talking to people would sometimes sort of distract me from that because I'm talking to them now. I'm sort of engaging in them. So at least I'm not, like, internalizing it, But maybe it's different for you. This is a complete hypothesis. Maybe you think that because you're thinking about something else, when someone's talking to you, they think you're weird, and then that then that kind of spin, like, oh no, they think I'm weird, and then
creates another wheel.
Yeah,
creates another hamster wheel and then that's spinning, and then you're monitoring everything you're saying, and you're not like listening,
being present.
Yeah. And especially when you're around fans or anything like that, because then you're in this weird place where they want you to be you, but they also want you to perform.
Yeah.
And I know you kind of know what that's like, because there is like a real you, and then there's a you that performs, which is like a version of you.
Sure.
And when you meet fans and you meet things, you don't really know what they want and what they expect, and you don't really want to like disappoint them, although I'm sure I disappoint every fan.
No, I don't think you do.
Probably not, but that definitely goes on in my head.
Yeah, right.
And even people who aren't fans.
Yeah. Well, I know some people have had panic attacks. Have you had a panic attack ever?
No, I don't get panic attacks, thank God.
Is that basically like the next step of the thing?
Yeah. That's what I've been led to believe.
Yeah.
And that the thing I know about panic attacks is that people often mistake them internally for heart attacks, because that's how strong they can get and that's how strong they can feel. And I'm so glad that I don't. I mean, I'm probably like, I will say this, like sometimes I feel like I'd be close. Like I'm probably I don't take medication, but I'm like the one wrong medication prescription away from being like panic attack guy.
Wow. Yeah. I've felt times in my life under extreme amounts of pressure where I could have one of those, but I knew why. I knew I was under pressure. I knew I was like moving or this, that, the other thing. And like just the fact that I knew what it was, it sounds weird, but it was comforting. Like at least I could rationalize it. It's like, yeah, you just moved across the country or you're out of money or blah, 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 blah. That's going to cause a lot of tension.
Yeah.
If I just had that and was like, what the fuck? If it was just like a lazy Sunday and I was like chilling on the couch and then I started to like that and just that fear would like spiral me out of control. So I can't imagine how that would be with some people just freak out like that. I do think that sometimes people can bring that on themselves in a way where you're not getting enough sleep, you're not exercising right, you're not drinking enough water, you're dehydrated, you're eating too much sugar, you're eating too much caffeine.
Yeah. All that helps.
Yeah.
Controlling all of that helps, and that's also what I've learned over the years. That doesn't make it go away, but if I'm, like when we went on the road and you're like, you want to get some coffee, I say, well, I don't really drink a lot of coffee, because that's one of the things that allows it to kind of get out of control. Another thing is like, yes, exercising helps, sleeping the right amount helps. There are a lot of outside forces that you can kind of keep at bay. It helps. It's not a cure, not for me anyway. Probably not for a lot of people. Otherwise, be like, shit, I'm cured.
Yeah, right.
Everyone, stop drinking coffee.
Fuck coffee.
Yeah, but when I did stop, and when I go through these phases for years or whatever, where I completely stop drinking coffee or whatever, I certainly do feel better, and it is something I measure. Believe it or not, meditation actually helps too.
Yeah.
Which is hard for me to keep on a consistent schedule.
Yeah.
And meditation's super hard because, got a very active brain, probably hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But when you can really start to get on it, there is a part of you that because meditation, it's like where you start to detach yourself from how you start to separate yourself from how you feel, from your emotions and these things, and what you start to do, and from your own thoughts. And what you start to do is you start to see these thoughts and emotions as what they are, which are just thoughts and emotions and not you. Like I had this thought, hypothetically, I had this thought that I want to throw a bucket of water on this stray cat. Fuck that cat.
Right.
Or whatever. And you have to, when you meditate and you can start to control that, it's not that you don't have the thought. It's that you have the thought and you go, that thought is not Lloyd.
That's just a thought.
It's just a thought.
Yeah.
It's just a crazy...
Jesus. If I was all the thoughts I had, I think I'd be in prison.
You're kidding. Yeah, no kidding, man. I would never like want anyone to ever... So when people ask if you want a certain superpower, invisibility or flying or mind reading... Like, I don't want to I don't want to know what other people are thinking.
And then,
fuck, no, not if they're as crazy as I am.
I don't go to the library. Why would I want to read people's minds?
Hey-o.
I will say that I got my scuba license, so I got scuba certified. And
nobody likes a braggart, Lloyd.
No, but like the power of thought became very clear to me as I was in scuba training, because so you're 60 feet down or 40 feet down, and you can't just go up. That's kind of part of the deal with scuba, is like there's pressurized air in your lungs, and if you go up too fast, it expands, and you can really hurt yourself. So if you freak out down there, you're still 5 minutes away from being on the surface, even if you're only 30 feet from the air. And I only freaked out one time, and it was because I let a thought get out of control in my brain. I couldn't there was like a little seed of a thought where I had to get out of there. I felt claustrophobic, and I hadn't yet learned a couple techniques that really helped me. One of them would just take the regulator out of my mouth and swish some water around. But I couldn't get that thought out of my fucking mind, and it just kept rattling around. And then it felt like I had butterflies in my stomach, and I started to panic. And I finally I just told the instructor, hey, we got to go up. He was cool. We got us up. It was good. And I was like, that was terrifying. And then it was like a whole nother week before we dove again, because it was like a 2-week process. And I was down there again, and I started feeling that again. And I literally did what you just said. I had to like slow down, concentrate on my breathing, try to feel like I was separate from that thought, and like look at it from the outside looking in. And that really helped me. That was really the only thing I could do.
Yeah.
Because you can't, like I said, you can't just go up to the top. So it is a powerful tool to do that. So yeah, I'm glad it's helping.
Meditation is just doing that over and over and over again until you get better at it and more, I would say, like fluent in it. Yeah. Wow. And yeah, it can help a lot of different things.
Well, interesting, man. Thanks for talking about that. I feel like that was very interesting for me to know, and probably a lot of people out there feel the same shit and go through the same thing. Yeah,
probably a lot of people, because now that I've like been forthcoming with it, a lot of people, they'll come to you and be like, "Oh my God, is yours coupled with depression? And is yours coupled?" It's like, yeah, all that stuff kind of goes along into it. Depression. Some people have like sort of like anger issues with it and stuff too. It's like, yeah, I get angry too, and then you can't trust your own anger. Yeah, because you're like, well, this person did something to me and I'm mad, but is that justified, or is that just the anxiety?
That's what a wife is for.
So she can be like, you should be more upset.
Or the other way, like, stop being such a dick. Like, you're just pissed because you got butt hurt because someone's challenging your power or whatever, or your idea got, passed over or whatever. Like, I can't tell you how many. I mean, literally, that is a really good reason to be in a relationship, because you have someone who knows you intimately, knows that you're a good person, loves you, and then can give you honest feedback and criticism about how you're reacting to a certain situation. Because, you know, I have a dad who's cool enough to do that and growing up, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people have no one person in their life that they can really have that can really give them honest feedback, or reflective feedback, because maybe they don't know anybody that well.
Right.
You know what I mean? So then all of a sudden you're feeling all this fucking anger and you're like battling yourself inside of it. You don't know what to do with it. That could drive a person nuts in a second.
Oh, and it does. And it does. It does. It makes me nuts. But it also, I got that kind of brain. It likes to feed on things.
Yeah.
And it also makes me very creative, makes me workaholic, makes it easy for me to lock myself in a room for a week, because I don't feel the need to go out and
I got a text.
Oh, no. I don't feel the need to go out and, like, socialize as much as I see everyone else kind of doing it. Like, I don't have that compulsion.
Yeah.
And because it's a lot of work. That's work for me, is
Yeah.
to go out. Sitting at home and writing and creating and doing songs and practicing and stuff, that is no problem.
Yeah.
It's all the other shit.
Yeah.
So what you find is that sometimes I become sort of a shut-in. There is a point in time where if I go too long, I'll be like, I need to get out and fucking go to a restaurant or go do a thing.
Yeah.
But it's rare. I would say never at this point.
Wow.
In my 30s, where I say, "Oh, I need to go to a party."
Let me go to the Zac Efron club.
Yeah.
Boots and pants and boots and pants.
And believe it or not, I went to that shit. You know, I was single, so it was a little different. But the Zac Efron club, that was one of those. You know, I went because I was like, well, celebrities go there. I guess that's what I got to do.
Yeah.
You know, when you get in Hollywood and there's not really a place for you.
Yeah.
And it's the weirdest fucking feeling, but you're like,
I was-
millions of people watch and all that, but you're saying that there's no place for me? Okay,
Yeah.
I guess I'll just do what everyone else in Hollywood does. I'll
Yeah.
audition and I'll go to these parties and I'll do the thing. And then you realize, like, no, that doesn't make you a part of it either.
I lucked out so hard with the improv comedy community, like coming from Chicago, like the whole improv theater and IO and Second City and Mission Improbable was like my crew. And when I moved out here, I had a crew, and like you all like belong to this club already, and you speak this sort of weird language already.
Yeah.
I was able to circumvent that whole scene. I don't think I ever would have survived if I had to come to LA alone. If I had to come to LA alone and I didn't know anybody, first of all, I never would have done it. And anyway, but we can tell that story maybe next week.
Which story?
How we came to LA and why.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Well, and just about Hollywood in general, and
Hollyweird.
how it's a weird place. It's a weird, like, club that even people who are in the club don't feel like they're in the club and shit like that. And it's something that it took me a while to realize that's not my thing. Like, I don't want to be a part of their club.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want them being a part of my club. I don't even have a club, but stay the fuck out of my club.
You're out of my club, bro.
That's just it's just not my thing, because I actually crave authenticity, and Hollywood is the opposite of that.
Yeah.
And they're notorious for it.
Yeah. And it's a city that revolves around itself. So
Exactly.
but I'm going to say this week I'm going to crown Ray the king of influence. this
Hey,
week.
finally, I won something.
He's the king of influence this week for being an authentic social media person.
Influencer.
Yeah. So he gets the crown, and I'm gonna give the jester to fucking Blue Jeans Betty
Jean's
Queen.
mom.
Yeah.
I forget her name. I won't say her name.
Giraffe
I won't
killer.
berate her anymore. I feel like she's probably gotten a lot of shit. You know, and she, to her credit, in her head, she was probably just doing what was legal. Probably, I don't know, been glam hunting for her whole life. I'm being judgmental, but you know, and then she kills a giraffe and thinks it's cool to post it on Facebook and like thanks Jesus and is like, I'm a good Christian too. And then a year later it goes viral and blows up, and she's probably getting death threats and all kinds of shit.
I mean, if they're still feeding the village off of the meat of that giraffe, then maybe
meat's probably spoiled by now. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you could put that shit in the freezer.
That's fair.
So there's those things, and then Zac Efron, he gets the skate through. He's good.
He's still tripping from all that acid from years ago.
That's what his hair's doing.
No kidding. I should have made that connection, guys. It's not cultural appropriation. He's
tripping.
He's rolling, tripping balls, man. All right, let's get off here, and and turn on the air conditioner
Yeah, we
because
can
it's
totally do
sweating
that.
like crazy in here. I can see your face sweating.
Yeah, me
Mine
too.
is too.
Well, thanks you guys for tuning in. This is the Kings of Influence. We're here every Wednesday at noon. You can find us on SoundCloud and iTunes podcasts. We will be here next week right again at noon. So I'm Lloyd Alquist, Epic Lloyd. That's the name.
I'm Ray William Johnson, and we are out of here, baby.
Later.